For our sources, of course, we obviously have each book that we're using per month, starting with Little House in the Big Woods, and then a biography of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Something I got that I really, really like is this Laura Ingalls Wilder companion chapter by chapter guide by Annette Whipple. We also got this, which is fine. It has colored pictures and is a lot easier for the kids to understand how to make things and do things. But this one has a little bit more to it and more information. But they're both good. But I really like this one. And then for the cookbooks, this is awesome. This I would definitely recommend getting this. That's what we'll mostly be using for the recipes today to make butter and cheese and pie. We also got this, but this is from her later works, so it has recipes from after Laura Ingalls Wilder is an adult, but it's got some great recipes in there. Our sources for the clothes come from a variety of books and online. Again, I am not a fashion historian, a dressmaker, a professional seamstress, historian, any of that stuff, so I have to rely heavily on these kind of sources. I love photographs because it gives you more of a realistic idea of what they actually would wear. The drawings are great, but the reality is they're still drawings, not actual people and how they apply them to real life. This is done more in the UK and drawing from those from their country, whereas this one is from America. So they would be a little bit further ahead in fashion than America would, especially the further west you went. They would still be not that far behind as they used to because of the railways and other ways of getting information passed was a lot better than it used to be. But they still would have been slightly behind, especially from their European counterparts. So something they would have used is this that I found at thriftbooks.com, which is awesome. It would have had the pictures that maybe Ma Ingalls would have looked at with her sisters and her mom. We also have this, but this is later in the Edwardian time period, and so we wouldn't be getting into this until later. This is so cool. It has so much good information in it, patterns, so forth. And then this is, I just am really enjoying this. Not only does it give patterns that they could have ordered, but it also shows like clippings for selling things, catalog. Like it's just got so much really cool information in it. Laura's ma and pa were married in 1860. Our projects will be mostly on the 1880s, as we did the 1860s in our Little Woman study, which you can check out in our playlist that I will have linked below. During that series for my youngest two, I used this dress as an inspiration for their outfits, but I'm going to be changing that up to making it more of this type of dress. In the following picture, by taking off the sleeves and making it look more like a pinafore over skirt like this one instead of the full dress over a shirt in the first picture. So to do that, I am taking the dress and leaving that V shape in the front, but taking off the sleeves and making the armholes bigger and the sides or the shoulders come up more closer to the neck. It's not as a wide boat shape like it would have been in the early 1860s. It's going to be up closer to the neck now. For my older girls, I am going to be making more of the skirt like in this with a shirt we bought. This is from the Garibaldi type of blouse. The shirts aren't exactly like that, but it's as close as I could get. And then eventually we'll be making a overskirt and bodice or bosque, whatever they call it, for the top later on in this series to look more like this. Obviously, the younger that they are, the girls would wear shorter skirts, and as they grew older, they would grow longer. But because we use these in real life and I want them to be used, then we kind of adapt them to whatever my girls would be more willing to wear. And in this case, they really like the long skirts. So we are making them much longer than they would have actually worn in real life. So basically, I'm trying to make their skirts into 5 panels or gores or triangle shapes with the dog who likes to keep interrupting everything that we do. So this is my daughter Julie's. Her favorite color is purple, and so we're trying to make it that. The back part of it gets higher, which makes the dress longer to accommodate for the bustle shape that will be underneath it later on.
The 3 things I learned from Little House in the Big Woods, or my favorite things, were probably the maple sugar and how they would harvest it and how they had a party and they danced and they ate it. And then another part was probably how Ma would make the butter and what Christmas morning would have been like for Laura.
My favorite part about the book were all moms rock the best knee. Then I wondered how they make dresses back then.
Ooh.
My favorite part is the dash known at the log.
You thought the log was a bear?
Yes. It's so funny.
I think my favorite part was when Ma slapped the bear. I'm also really excited to try out her recipes. I tried out her lemon ice cream. Didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. One of my favorite parts was when they visited Mrs. Peterson and she gave them a cookie. Well, they each nibbled half and tried to give a fair amount to baby Carrie, but they didn't quite figure it out.
Okay, so I've read these books when I was a kid, and it's crazy the difference of reading them now as an adult and living on a homestead, how much more alive these books have become, so much more vivid and understanding things. I mean, Laura did such a great job describing everything, but to actually have hands-on experience in some of these things is really cool. I will talk about more of the clothing and so forth in the next video when we do the farmer boy, as it's set back more in the 1860s. This is around the 1870s. So while we are modifying clothes to meet the 1870s from our 1860s clothing, in the book Little House in the Big Woods, it does mention about clothing, the different prints of calico that they had. They do mention I think fuller skirts. They also mention the corsets and how the aunts tried to tight lace. We don't find this as something everybody would want to do, usually for special occasions. It's not a reason to believe, like movies, that corsets are just these terrible, horrible things, but I'm no expert on that stuff. It's just some things that I've learned. Anyway, so the whole thing is just very, very interesting, especially to read now as we kind of try to live out some of that reality. But I am so thankful for running water and a washing machine and the modern convenience of a bathroom compared to what they had to go through back then. I am still in awe that Ma is able to get done as much as she does, because it is already so hard doing what we do, which is far less than what she did, and still she had time to sew, and she had less light than we did. They used candlelight when it was evening hours, and I can't imagine sewing by hand under candlelight very well. So it's just amazing what they did. And obviously Laura might have left out some details, but somehow Ma got it done. That's pretty awesome.